than a week, the Minneapolis Police Department has been turned upside down in the fallout from an officer-involved shooting.
It was last Saturday night when Justine Damon was shot to death by Officer Mohammed Noor. Days later, on Friday evening, Police Chief Janae Harteau announced her resignation. And less than 2 hours after that, Mayor Betsy Hodges announced her nomination of Assistant Chief Madaria Arredondo to be the new police chief.
Beth McDonough will tell us about Arredondo's decades-long history in the department as the nomination process begins.
But Ryan Raich begins our team coverage with where the city council members stand on the changes at MPD. Ryan.
Yeah, Bill, Councilmember Abdi Warsami is the latest to come out with a public statement on what's going on right now inside City Hall. It's noteworthy in part because he's a Somali American, just like the officer involved in this shooting, Mohammed Noor. But he says race has no part in this conversation. Standing alongside members of the East African community, Councilmember Abdi Warsami did not mince words.
This man is an American citizen. He's an American citizen. He's a police officer of the city of Minneapolis. His actions are not the actions of the Somali community.
Warsami told reporters Sunday afternoon he has never talked to Officer Noor and has never even met the man.
We have a number of East African police officers.
But he did admit to recently speaking with his family. The investigation into the killing of Justine Damon is only a week old, and no one has been charged. It's why Warsami took issue with this statement last week by then Police Chief Janae Harteau.
With me today is Assistant Chief Arredondo, Inspector Mike Jose, and Inspector Catherine Waite. Justine didn't have to die. Based on the publicly released information from the BCA, this should not have happened. On our squad cars, you will find the words, "To protect with courage and serve with compassion." This did not happen. Having the information that is publicly available right now, while recognizing there is an open BCA investigation, I believe the actions in question go against who we are as a department, how we train, and the expectations we have for our officers. These were the actions and judgment of one individual. I want to assure Justine's family, our community, and those in Australia that I will do everything in my power to make sure due process is followed and justice is served. I spoke to Justine's fiance this morning, and I told him I was sorry for his loss and that this did not have to happen. And again, Justine did not have to die. I can never predict when an incident may occur. There is seldom a good time for a chief to be away, but I do plan my personal time around events that require my presence, such as upcoming National Night Out on August 1st when I was scheduled to return. Although I wasn't here physically for a few days, I'm always the chief and was in constant communication with my team. A chief is never really off duty. I do want to thank Assistant Chief Arredondo, who I have the utmost confidence in while I'm away. There's been a lot of discussion about body cameras. My expectation is that our policy is followed. Based on the information the BCA has released, and without additional information as to why the cameras weren't on, it is my belief that the body camera should have been activated. Although our body-worn camera policy is in line with the League of Minnesota Cities policy, in line with best practices, and very similar to other departments in the state of Minnesota and across this country, we're making changes to strengthen the existing policy to ensure that cameras are on well in advance of the situation. Beyond policy and its enforcement, we are looking into new technological advances to avoid human error. I am proud of the current training practices. We are nationally recognized in 21st century policing practices. We have spent the last couple of years updating our policies and training all of our officers in fair and impartial policing training, procedural justice, crisis intervention training, and de-escalation. We will continue to evaluate officer training and look for ways to enhance our existing programs. I understand the impact this has had on our community. I cannot imagine the impact this has had on Justine's family. In my conversation with her fiance this morning, Don expressed the concern and fear our community may have in calling 911. Although disheartening, I understand the fear. and why it exists. This has had a negative impact on the community trust we've built. Moving forward, we will continue to work towards regaining the trust with everything we do. Even in Justine's fiance's grief, we had a positive conversation on how we could work together moving forward. I want to reiterate that we are talking about one individual's actions in question. I am proud to have a department filled with professional, compassionate men and women who will continue to protect and serve our community with integrity.
I think everybody should have been given an opportunity. I mean, we're a nation of laws, and I think without having the facts in front of us, we shouldn't have jumped the gun.
5 Eyewitness News has found the majority on City Council support a change in leadership at the police department. Some think that change extends all the way up to the mayor,
I do not want you as the mayor, Betsy Hodges.
who got an earful on Friday, announcing Harteau's resignation. Warsame would not comment on the outgoing chief and stopped short of supporting the incoming one until he can, quote, prove he's an agent of change.
What I'm looking for is change. What I'm looking for is fundamental change, because we keep seeing these things repeated again and again.
We have now heard from 9 of the 13 city council members. All of them support a change in leadership at the department, but the responses vary on who should replace Chief Harteau. Some council members fully support Arredondo. Others feels that they need to look outside of the department for a replacement. And we have put all of this online, all of the responses and statements we have now from the 9 city council members that have said something.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's questioned Arredondo's credentials. He's a well-respected officer, but again, maybe it's just a culture change that they need.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, thanks very much.